think it's ready to go.
Mossberg's in the truck. You got boots?
Boots, pack.
I meant to bring my boot dryer.
I feel like John's got one.
John Lewis?
John Lewis.
Is he coming?
Huh?
Is he coming?
You serious?
What?
Are you serious?
I didn't know John was coming.
He's coming.
Oh man, everything's dying this weekend. Well, surprise to me, John Lewis is coming. That's exciting as heck. So it's gonna get cold. They're getting fresh snow, and we'll see you in the Adirondacks. What do we got here? Oh,
It's good to know there's deer in these parts.
She's snowing.
slowly, not really sticking that much, but just been going over maps and stuff and all that happy business with the man, the myth, the legend.
The mullet.
The mullet man,
Wookie.
the magic mullet, and we think we found an area that we want to walk, and we're gonna walk it, and we're gonna keep walking until we find a track.
And we're actually gonna start a trace on Hunt Stand right here. So we get a trace like that. Start, and we can hide it here, and that's gonna track our progress throughout the day, and we'll see the route that we took. Here we go.
We've encountered 0 deer sign, which is kind of what we expect. It's not what we want, but it's what we've been told about this area. It's very low deer density, which is good, very good for tracking, but it's very bad for finding deer. But once you find them, you find them. So we're just gonna keep marching. That's a big tree, stands out. Squirrel. But we're just gonna keep marching and then make our way back to the truck at some point, and then we'll probably, when we get to the truck, maybe go check out another access point for tomorrow morning. We're gonna keep going. Shut up, Ross. We've encountered our first deer sign. We're right at the bottom of this drainage that runs down to the swamp, and there's a scrape right here. There's an old,
We kicked that out to see if there was dirt underneath or debris, and it's just dirt. So
yeah, and you can see the licking branch is broken. Broken there, broken there. So there are deer in the Adirondacks. Bucks, not just deer. That's good.
there's a trail right here too. You can
Yeah.
see it going right there.
So I think we're gonna take this drainage up and see maybe if there's some bedding up top, or cut a track, or I don't know. Shoot one in his bed.
All right, it's snowing outside. We are headed up to the Adirondack region of New York. We just had Thanksgiving yesterday. We hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Got to spend time with friends and family. We're gonna keep rolling north here. We've probably got a little under an hour to get to where we're going. And then we're gonna get everything unloaded out of the truck and maybe go try to peek around a little bit this afternoon. But tracking, New York, Adirondack Mountains, doesn't get much better. We'll see you guys at camp.
Going with some APPAREL.
I don't know what these deer do in storms either, if they just kind of lay up and don't move or what.
Right. I mean, I
It was
wouldn't.
windy.
I would not
I
move.
wouldn't move.
No. I'll be laid up on my belly, chewing my cud,
Yeah.
resting my antlers on a fir tree.
Yeah, you're spike.
Calling it
You'd
a
be
day.
spike. Or
Well,
one
it's
spike.
like one real big spike. The other side I busted off.
Yeah. From running into it.
Yeah. Hold on.
What's the update? Pack ready?
Pack's ready. Mossberg's in the truck. We got snow overnight. It's cold. It's windy. And we're gonna go run a buck down and shoot him in his bed. Hopefully they-
strategy besides that.
We're gonna walk until we find a track.
Where are we gonna walk?
We're gonna walk the same piece we did yesterday, except I think we're gonna focus more on the swamps, the cedar swamps, although I have yet to see a cedar tree, but that's evidently what you call them. Yeah, we're just gonna walk and walk and walk and walk, and then if we don't find a track, we're gonna turn around, we're gonna come back, and we're gonna find somewhere else to walk and walk and walk and walk until it's dark. So that's that.
Pretty simple strategy.
Walk, find a track, walk on the track. Easy peasy.
All right, it's our first morning here. Everybody headed out to the spot. We are a couple minutes away from where we were planning on going. Our plan is just to kind of hit a trail, start hiking back in there, hopefully cut a track in the 5 miles that it is long. And if not, then we're gonna drop off and start to do a little bit of exploring. But we don't want to do a whole lot of bushwhacking right off the bat and getting soaking wet because there's a lot of snow on the limbs. So that's our plan. See if we can't make some magic happen here in the Adirondacks. We got 2 days of doing this, so hopefully one of us gets a crack at something.
All right. Ready to party now. Man, it's a pretty fresh set of tracks, so I don't know how picky we should be being, I guess is the thing. It's like, part of me is like, I think we should know that it's a big deer or like a good buck before we start getting into the timber, and then part of me is like, well, maybe you should just take what you can get. Yeah. But the problem is once we start going, we're committing to something. That's coming from a guy that doesn't know, is very, very, very novice at this, very new. I don't have that thing yet to be like, that's the one, like, yeah, we need to go take this one. So, I mean, that's just going to come with time of doing it and probably taking tracks like this and realizing you probably shouldn't have taken them. But, I don't know. We'll take it and just see what it looks like.
We're hunting now.
We found us a track. Right there. Right there. Single track. It's not very recent. But it's not that old. It's early this morning probably. Yeah. 5, 6 o'clock. Stopped snowing at 7. It's got a little bit of snow on it. But we have gone how far?
I don't know, probably 5
5
or 6
miles.
miles.
And we haven't cut a single track other than right next to the truck, like behind someone's house. Yeah. So we're going to take this because we have no other game and see what happens. We just haven't seen any sort of anything. So we're getting ready to roll, getting everything situated. We're going to go through this winter wonderland. I'm ready when you are.
Oh, neat. We abandoned that track. Like, made it like 75 yards, maybe 100, and it dove into this swamp. I shouldn't say swamp, it's more like a bog, and it's just all this whip brush, and there's no chance we were catching up to that deer walking through that stuff. It went for, looking at hunt stand, it went for like 900 more yards anyway, and then ended at a river that we're not going to be able to cross. And the trail we've been walking kind of parallels it, so if that deer came back out and headed back up, we're going to cut its track. Also, to that point, I don't know that it was much more than a 1.5 years old, judging by what it was able to navigate. If it was a real deer, it would have stopped dead in a lot of the situations that it was in. So,
What do you mean by that? Trees.
Yeah, trees, and like how much stuff he knocked off of stuff he was going by. So his antlers would have gotten all hung up in it. So we're gonna, do what we've been doing all day, and that's walk.
Been pretty slow here for team J&J.
To be expected.
Mm-hmm. We used up all of our luck already this year, so I'm not like complaining about it at all. which way do you think they went out of here? I mean, it's old. But we might as well follow these tracks to hopefully run into something else.
Yeah, since we're in here.
Yeah, I mean, definitely probably late there through the summer. Maybe we just follow them back that way. I know one deer's in this nightmare of woods. All right. Whew. We just made it back to the truck. We decided to come back, reevaluate our situation. We got into some thick, nasty stuff that just didn't seem very good. We made a mistake of getting off the trail. So we ended up getting back, and we actually cut another person's tracks and pretty much just followed them back to the road and then hightailed it up to the truck. So we're gonna go, we got probably about a little over 4 hours left. We're gonna go to another spot on this road, check it out, maybe try to get a little bit of walking in, and then that'll be that for the day. But first, get the truck warmed up and eat something quick.
I don't know. I don't think it's getting much better than that.
Alright, go back and let's head on out.
I gotta get the snow out of the scope gap first.
Yeah, don't forget that part. I just fogged up the scope.
The scope cap? Come on, man.
You're gonna need that thing today.
Yeah, I'll be lucky if I need it. Just kidding. We're staying positive. We're having fun. We really like doing this. We've only walked like 9 miles with one track to show for it. So, which is okay.
Into a nasty swamp.
We've learned a lot of
Have
what
we,
not of what not to do.
Everything we've done? Don't
Yes.
do it?
Don't do it.
I don't know that we've learned anything.
The Adirondacks is desolate. Marginal deer habitat at best.
Marginal. At least where we're at.
Yeah.
That's just swimming right here pretty good. But now he's across. So my turn. Actually not that bad.
I'm gonna be in okay shape.
Oh, you getting new socks?
Yeah.
That's a good winter wonderland tip. Bring you some new socks.
It snows? Oh yeah.
Where are they at? How far did you go in there?
All the way up to my knee.
Oh shoot, bub.
I'm pretty quick though.
Yeah.
So I was able to get out before too much bad really happened. But I mean, my boot really isn't in that bad a shape. So
I saw it. He went at least up to there.
We hunting. We're migrating today. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Wow, 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 wow. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Wow, 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 wow. Better like down in here than anything we've really walked through.
And that was definitely a massive track.
Yeah. Yeah, we just got down. We've been walking probably, what do you think, 1.5 miles?
Yeah.
Maybe 2. And we cut one set of tracks that looked like maybe a doe and a fawn. And then we just cut another set that's older. I mean, it's old, but it definitely looks like wide, long stride, pretty wide gait, bigger track. It's headed down into these marshes. We're kind of thinking it's just so different. Like we thought the other spot we were at, we're like, well, let's get down the bottom. We got down so thick with just like young spruce, and it was just, you couldn't navigate it. So it'll be interesting to see what these ones are like. Well, looked like too good of a spot, I guess. We were just walking across and I stopped. I'm like, that sounds like a 4-wheeler. And I looked up and a guy was coming down on a 4-wheeler. Pretty sure it is a 4-wheeler. I mean, back where we came in, it said it was a 4-wheeler trail with a permit, so. But anyways, we're back at this set here.
It's obviously old, but we're kind of in a spot now where either we walk our own tracks back or try to learn something for tomorrow. So we're just gonna follow these, see where they lead, and maybe learn something about where we should be focusing a little bit more of our attention to. So this is a swell, like this is it, you know.
Yeah,
This is what you
they say look for holes.
yeah. But you can see they're feeding all along this edge here. Wow. This is a good one right here. It's pretty fresh. It's not crazy fresh, but it's decent, so we ought to.
You see dew claws still. He's big.
Yeah, it's a big deer.
All those are tracks.
Yeah, so we're gonna haul butt. So we got about an hour and a half, 2 hours of light. So I don't think we just jumped them, but I hope we did.
Yeah, me too.
There's 2 sets, fresh. So here's the mud he kicked up when he's running through here. So we're behind him quite a bit because it's froze. You see us get mud up. It's just slushy, like water ice. But his stuff's not, it froze, so. All right, well, we've been kind of following a bunch of different tracks, just trying to figure out where the deer are, and I feel like we've gotten a good amount of information, but we've been following this one, going back and forth whether it's a buck or not, and I honestly don't know if this is the same track. We just got to the spot right here where it was nudging in the ground, eating some of this stuff. And you can see right here, we got a tine mark, and a tine mark right here. That's his beams touching. That's where he's been digging his nose in. Boom, boom. So that's a good way to tell if your snow's deep enough, whether you're on a buck or a doe track, if you're having a hard time depicting it. So we only got about an hour and 15 minutes of light left, so we're gonna cook pretty good on this. Head back towards the truck so we're not 4 miles from it when it gets dark. So see if we can either bump this thing or figure out some. Basically what we're finding out is there's these chains of swamps here, like I said earlier, and now we have something to look at on HuntStand, what they look like on the map, and have a better idea of what we're getting ourselves into. So let's roll.
Hello, and welcome back. I think we're around 12 miles now, and we're back where we started almost. We're still probably a mile and a half from the truck. And we found a track that we don't remember seeing on the way in. It's really sweet though, because now it's 6 hours old. But it's a single track, and we're gonna check it out. Worst case, we take it 300 yards and it doesn't look anything like what we want, and we bail and go find somewhere else. I mean, for maybe tomorrow, because it's like 2 o'clock now. So we have 3 hours to run this thing down and shoot it in its bed. And we're gonna go do that right now because it's a good one. Signpost. Buck came right up to it. So now we head up. He went up, we go up. I'm feeling a lot better.
Looks like he stopped and pawed.
You can see like antler mark.
Yeah.
What do you think? I think we stay on it. I mean, what else are we gonna do with today? We catch him on his way back through.
Well, I mean, he could have went up in a loop and crossed his track, and that would be fresh. I mean,
Right.
you can take it a little further at least. It's not a tiny buck based on his antlers.
No.
He stopped and fed all through here. You can see his antler marks in the snow right here.
This is really.
That buck's big. Did you see him?
You see you first.
I like saw him move, like I just saw his head move a little bit on the other side of that fur. And I was like, oh, that's a deer.
He saw you by that point.
Like right when I was like thinking it was, he saw me. But he wasn't that freaked out.
Just ran your damn gun. Oh, I don't know. I needed to.
Because every single track up until this point has been old. But when I saw this stuff up here and thought, we're in the game now. That's a really big buck.
Did he tear off or he stopped?
No, he like
Oh, there, right there. He's right there.
Right.
He's right there.
right away.
Hey, stop. Where? Look. He was stopped right in there.
Yeah.
About 70 yards. You ran across. He's right in here. I think we need to give him time.
He was going left.
He was out here.
Like
He stopped there and then see this lane right here. I saw him go through that. Right through there. About like
by the
70
dead
yards.
tree.
Behind the dead tree. Way behind it. 70 yards. That's not him, but I don't think it is. We need to give him time. What's the wind doing?
It's going like this. Like this. Here's the game plan. We're gonna give him 15 minutes. He's a really big buck. I mean, definitely a mature deer. Good beams. I was like shocked at how big his body was.
I was shocked at how big he was, period.
Yeah, and then like I saw his antlers, I was like, but I really don't care. I'm gonna kill this buck. Like it doesn't matter what he is. Like, but he's a very respectable animal. There's no question. This buck has been tracked before. The way he's like comes through all this thick stuff, and like he didn't even bump one of these branches. You can't tell me he's not sneaking. And he put us through all that thick stuff. And now we're going through blowdown town. I don't know.
All big for here. He dipped down, went up. It looks like he went up. So we're thinking he might be up on this ridge watching his backtrack. So we're gonna approach it cautiously. We're really almost out of time, so we don't have much else to do.
So we're going for it.
Much longer we have? 20 minutes.
What time is the end?
Like 6:50, 6:50. I mean,
4:50.
4:54, 4:52, something like that.
It's 4:41 right now.
So we're done.
That was cool. That was real sweet.
Good deer. Real good deer for.
Dude, it's a deer I'd shoot anyway.
see you people tomorrow. Because you don't say anything. You sit there and
No.
he just sits there and he goes,
Hey,
yeah,
I don't know. I'm thinking.
yeah. Hey, can we get an update for the people?
Hey,
Come on.
All right.
Okay, now we're
You
back.
trying to light a fire under me? All right, so we're gonna march our behinds back to the truck, and that's gonna be that for today. And hopefully we can be back in here tomorrow if we're not getting snow at home and I have to go home to plow it. So we're gonna go eat probably 4,000 calories a piece,
At least.
and a bunch of water, and that's gonna be that. We'll see you in sometime.
It is our second morning here in the Adirondacks. Seemed like everybody had a pretty decent day yesterday. In the afternoon, it took pretty much everybody walking a lot, and then found stuff kind of late. Ross almost got a good one. It's colder this morning. We haven't gotten any more snow, so it might make cutting a track that's new or old pretty difficult. Basically, our plan is to get back into these swamps where we found all that deer sign, and probably go pretty hard until we get eyes or know for a fact that we bumped one or see one. So it's a decent little lick back there. Feeling a little sore today, so it took us a little longer to get rocking, but we're here and we're gonna do it all day. So hopefully we can go catch up with one of these bucks. Deer, 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 deer. Stop. We just popped one. How could you see it? Just saw brown. We did what we wanted to do, is bump one, so we know we're fairly close because we can't tell what's fresh and what's not.
So now do we change the pace and keep following it or go to the swamp still?
The swamp's right in front of us. I just saw a body. It was definitely deer. That's not froze up, see that? Alright, it's a little bit after 9. We jumped that deer probably about 25 minutes ago. Pretty sure it was just a doe, but not 100%. So we got to our tracks from yesterday. We're standing right where we walked through yesterday. This is the area. There's a bunch of deer in this little bowl ridge top, so we're basically going to follow our tracks back to where the pin that I dropped on hunt stand is. We had 2 bucks that were kind of run side by side and they split. I would assume that they're probably not terribly far. They're probably in this general area with how cold it is, and usually you bump them, they'll come back. So hardest thing that we're running into is just knowing what's fresh and what's not. So I mean, we looked at the tracks from that deer we spooked, and like you can tell they were fresh, but they don't look much different than stuff that's been sitting for a night. But it's so quiet, the woods are so loud. It's gonna definitely make getting up close to one pretty tough, but we're gonna keep going. We got all day, so see how far back into this stuff we can get.
It's cold.
Sure is.
It's like
still
11 degrees. Going back in after that buck we saw yesterday, hopefully, maybe even a smaller one. Don't know. Last day. Let's go.
Huh?
That sure looks like a buck track to me. That's a nice track.
You think we should take it?
We're taking this track. We're not far from the truck. There's a good chance he crossed the river on the other side of this ridge, but here we go.
That's a huge track for here, dude. Like huge for here. Put your hand down next to me. Yep.
That's one we'll shoot.
Let's go.
I don't think that's his
It's
bed.
not his bed.
That's not his bed. That's a doe bed.
Yeah.
And he just came in. Maybe he knows they're out. I don't know.
Big highway. Probably a doe highway coming through here. Looks like he crossed it. So we just got into an area that's known as a barnyard. Basically, there's a doe group in here that's been feeding, as you can see, all over the place.
and this buck ran into him. And so it can be really challenging to figure out what track is the buck's, unless you have really good snow, you can see the imprint, or even like where he left this area, because it's just a mess of tracks. So Ross is right now, we're like making a perimeter around this barnyard and seeing if we can find a big track, single track, leaving it. So that's kind of the strategy. This will slow you down a fair amount, but it's really important because you want to make sure you're on the fresh track and you're on the buck's track. So we're going to get to it.
All right, so we've gotten tangled in this web from these bucks. And, well, this buck, maybe there's more than one buck or just some really big-footed does. I have no idea. We've been led in circles. They've been feeding in here. It's insane. I'm getting dizzy. And, like, some of these tracks look fresher than others, and then another track will be stepped on top of the track that look fresh. So I just think this is...
Good old-fashioned barnyard.
Yeah.
All right, we've just been walking around in circles. We found a pile of deer, but it's been impossible to stay on a single track. We followed a buck, and he's just running out to these points and turning around, coming back, and he got us all messed up twice. So it was just like, I didn't know what to do, so we just said, I'm not gonna just keep walking around in circles, so let's find something else. And we found another one. But we're standing right here. Here's his track. You can see all this snow is knocked off of here, so it's with his track right here, it's a fairly wide deer, or he hit it with his rack. I would assume that this is a buck, but that's just my guess. So we're gonna follow this one. It's headed away from where all that basically cattle yard is. It's just like impossible to do anything with. So we're gonna follow this one. It's about 10 o'clock, a little after 10. Hopefully we can stay on this one for a little bit. He doesn't just turn around and come back the way he went. So you can see his dribble. Little bit of pee. It's not all in one spot. It's back here, and he's dribbling it. So that confirms that this is a buck for us, which is what we were thinking. But does will pee in one spot, and it'll be a big hole. Bucks will dribble.
Body. Wing. Feathers. That's sweet. You think that's a hawk?
Probably.
We should have been in it. We should have been in it.
Would have shot him at -3 yards. Look at this. Where it laid its face down. That's its ears. Ears, head, nose. Good spot to sleep.
That's ridiculous. Hey, props to whoever brought this.
We're going to do what I said we should have done in the first place. We're going to loop around this swamp. We're going to pick up his track on the other side. We dropped a pin on a hunt stand right here. We're going to use it as a point of reference. We're going to go back to where we were yesterday, pick up his track, and shoot him while he's sleeping. No fresh tracks. So, up we go. We're going to go follow the 1,600 foot, I think, right? It's either 1,600 or 1,700 foot topo line around, because that's where it seemed like all the deer kind of were yesterday. I think he came back through last night, because we got a set of tracks here definitely from last night that stepped in our boot tracks. Now I'm curious, because he was headed the other way, right? He was headed away when we were tracking him. Right, but he was heading away. He was heading that way. So, like, this is after that, and this is definitely a big buck track. So, I think we'd take it. So, here we are, back on a buck track. Probably lead us to another feeding area where there's a bunch of does. We'll get angry, we'll be right back here, probably give or take an hour.
We think he might be laying up in there somewhere. We're gonna sneak up and just glance him. So in short, Jake wanted to hike this mountain. We hiked the mountain. There's no deer on the mountain, so we came back down. Now we're going back to where the deer are. We kind of went on a little hiatus, found some decent stuff, and then found nothing. So it just seems like the deer are all pocketed right around this swamp and up in this bowl. So we're gonna go back there and see if, now that we've had a little bit of snow, we should be able to have a better idea of what's super fresh versus old. That's been the struggle today. So yeah, that's the plan. Feeling like we got 25 miles under our belt in 2 days. They won. We're gonna wrap it up right here before we get ourselves into more of a mess. Brett and Ross had an opportunity at a good buck. I think that's something to hang our hat on, just for anything. Being within shooting range of one of these whitetails, I have gained a lot of respect for the deer that live in this country, and a lot of respect for the guys that spend their entire years tracking or hunting in these woods. It's definitely not an easy thing, and we still had a lot of fun. It's not something that we're gonna never come back to. I think what this trip really did was put something on my bucket list to do, and that's gonna be to kill a buck in these 6 million acres of woods. So beautiful country, so quiet. I mean, you stop and your ears just ring. That's how quiet it is. So overall, it was an awesome trip here. Short trip to the Adirondacks. We got basically 2.5 days of walking in. I think we probably did close to 30 miles and saw one deer. So found a lot of sign, followed tracks a lot of the ways. It took us a while to find the tracks. Once we found them, we were in deer. We just never saw them. And Brett and Ross had that one good encounter, and Steve jumped the buck, and he ended up crossing the river on him. So 3 groups total sighting of, I guess Steve said he saw like 7 does that one day. So 9 deer, that's pretty good, but without Steve too. So, but we're gonna hit the trail, hike back, get back to New York. We are in New York. Get back to home. I think rifle season closes up here next weekend, but I think we got some snow coming in back home. So I got some bucks that I think we might be able to run down back there if we get some snow. But nonetheless, thanks guys for watching. We appreciate you. Hopefully you enjoyed this video of us getting our butts kicked. Seems like we haven't. I mean, we've been working hard, but we've had an extremely fortunate and lucky season so far. So we needed a little bit of reality check, and this was a good way to do it. But we had a blast. We will keep on after it. We got a lot of deer season left. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
You want to stop?